Now I gotta ride or die.
So guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, as you can see, we have a little Suzuki Swift on our hands. Just picked the keys up to this absolutely fine example of a motor vehicle. One of the most underrated little hatches you can buy for the money. I feel like these are super underrated, and I'm going to start today's video by saying underrated one more time. We're going to say that multiple times in this video today, so sorry in advance. But I do feel like if you were to put this next to an ST of the same generation, maybe, you know, a Polo GTI, maybe even in the same generation, people would rather go for those cars over this one, and I sometimes can't understand. So I'm probably going to use most of this video to actually go through and explain why I feel like they're underrated and why I feel like you guys should go out there and buy one. But we're going to today start with going round this thing. We used to do a lot of walk rounds on this channel, but I feel like we need to bring them back. So I'm going to start by just pointing out a few cool bits that I feel like need to be addressed on these Suzuki Swifts, because I feel like they look the part. A 16 plate one still looks relatively contemporary and relatively good in today's light. I mean, look at the cloud, no clouds, there's clouds over there, and there's this loveliness. Anyway, it looks the part. I think it looks the part anyway. Black headlights at the front with the little bits of chrome around them, a little bit of grille as well on the Sport, with, as you can see, these accents just here, which sometimes get pushed aside through the styling because there isn't too much styling going on except for these little bulges here, maybe a little bit of bulge just here. Coming down the side of the car, this one's a 4-door variant, so, you know, easy to get the family in, easy to get shopping in the back. And if you are looking, you know, say you're looking for a little go around car that you can use on a daily basis, this is probably up there with one of the best. We will show you inside, and again, sorry, I will point out actually, this car is very dirty because there's a hosepipe ban in the UK at the moment, so we'll point that out as well as we start the video. But we'll show you inside quick and we'll carry on going around the car. Keyless entry in these actually, so you have keyless entry just here, so you push the button to open and close the car as you wish. In fact, they actually open and unlock with you opening the car, and all we have to do is press that button when you want to lock it. Inside though, you will find lever on the steering wheel, rev gauge that goes round to 7,200-ish RPM, and you can use all of that power from the VVTi engine all the way up in that rev range. Fantastically comfy seats. I have been around these seats a lot in Swifts, and I do feel like they're one of the best on the market. They're comfy, they're big, supportive, but they're not overpowering, they're not over uncomfortable. I think they do the job of sitting in the car and, you know, holding you in the car right and still retaining some very, very nice comfort. Not too many exotic materials, if I'm quite honest. Pretty much plastic here, here and here, a little bit on the door card there, and mostly up here. We will go in and show you guys though a few bits on the center console, because of course you've got all the buttons. It's pretty, again, self-explanatory car. There's not too much to write home about. Little USB down there and a little cigarette lighter just in case there. You have a small cup holder here, but that's the only one apart from this one here in this center arrangement, but you do have some just there in both doors at both sides. Have a little cubby hole here, put stuff in, and you have this, and this is a factory, so you actually have aux and Bluetooth in this car as well. Little cubby hole here, bit, I'm not really sure what you could put in there, definitely something. You have a little glove box as well just down here, and the sound system is actually pretty good here. You've got tweeters both sides and some pretty good sound from a relatively, I'm not going to say a basic car because it's not a basic car, is it, but something that's, you know, cheaper to get into. We will just show you guys the back seat because this is actually in my driving position, and as you can see there is some good room in the back of there. Not loads of room, but enough room a fully sized adult would be able to get in there very, very easily. And you have electric windows in the back, which sometimes you have to point out because some of these cars don't have electric windows in the back. Little cubby hole down there with a cup holder. And yeah, pretty much that's about it for the back of the car. Boot is a nice size as well. Again, sorry about the way this looks. It has got, there's a hosepipe band, there's a hosepipe band, but big enough in the back to warrant some shopping, maybe a very small pram if you're, you know, looking to buy this for your family. You might be able to get a pram in the back of there if it is a slightly smaller one. As you see, back end, you've got the Sport logoing at the back with the twin diffuser. Now this actually has a back box delete, so it's got exhaust tips there, but a back box delete. Perfect way to have your Suzuki Swift Sport, in my opinion, and top spoiler just there finishing off the back end. This one has black wheels as well, came from factory with silver wheels. But I feel like that's a pretty good start to the video. We're going to jump in the car now, see what I think about this thing, because this is a heavily underrated car. So, what's it like to drive? Let's find out why I think these are so underrated. This is basically the portion of the video where I explain to you guys how good these are, and explain why I don't understand that they are so underrated. More people should go and drive one of these cars, especially if they've got a couple of mods on them, because it's just so good. They're light on their feet, they're not too heavy, the throttle response is actually alright. You know, it takes a while to get the engine up, but because of the VVTi, you want it up in the revs, you want to keep it up as far as you can in that rev range. It just sounds so good. This one has literally got, again, as I've said, a back box delete, which is easy enough to do. Anyone can weld a bit of pipe in. And it hasn't made it too drony. It hasn't made it overwhelming. It's got a nice, subtle, naturally aspirated sound behind it, which I appreciate, and I actually enjoy that sound. With this CTC induction kit, it's just right. It's not overpowering. It's not insane induction and insane back box delete and drone and horribleness. And there's no crazy crossover, I don't think. You do feel that the VVTi comes in, it feels like it's going a bit faster. Of course it is, you're revving it, but you know, 7 and a bit thousand RPM, it is just absolutely singing this thing. And I feel like that's the bit that you don't sometimes understand about these cars. I do see them a lot, I don't see them modified, and I don't see them you know, enjoyed for the sport factor. That's a huge shame, because I feel like there's so much potential in a car like this. Turns really nice. It's got Michelin tyres, as I've already said, on it, and they turn in, and you know, the front end is so good. It feels like everything is connected as it should be. I feel like it's the perfect small hot hatch, naturally aspirated hot hatch for the UK. It doesn't need any more power than this. Yes, you can squeeze a little bit more out of that engine. Nothing crazy, 5 horsepower, 10 horsepower at the most. If you're up for supercharging, it's like 3, 4, 5 grand. Turbocharging again, same sort of scenario. So if you're after getting one of these and boosting the power, it's not really heard of unless you're spending thousands and thousands, like Civic Type R's, very similar. Not in the sense that, you know, the power's there, because they've got a lot more power than these, but this has, I think, enough power. And I hate to say that, and a lot of people won't understand that, you know, a 1.6 litre VVTi Swift has enough power. But I feel it has enough power for you to enjoy. You're not scared about this going too fast. You're not scared about it going into a corner too much, because as I've said before on the channel, I feel like these cars out-corner themselves over their power. So you're never really going to go wrong in this. That's why sometimes I feel like they are so underrated, because of that cornering ability and because of the way they feel through the corners. The power isn't needed. There isn't, you know, there isn't need to be more power. Turns in. It's just a good car, mate, and I sometimes have to sit and explain these cars and how they're underrated, and there'll be people in the comments like, that's not enough power and it's not fast enough and this and that. This is the perfect balance. It really is. And once you start really getting to understand this car, and it's not all about the power, it's not all about, you know, crazy features and finishes and stuff. Everything you touch is as it should be. Leather steering wheel, leather on the gear gator and stuff. It's just feels right in here, and it's not breaking the bank, which is the main thing. It's still doing 42 mpg. We've been thoroughly enjoying this all day, and it's doing 42 mpg. 70 quid to fill up, and you're still looking at about, you know, 5, 6, 7 grand for one of these. Bearing in mind, at the end of this video, I'm going to explain to you guys that this car was bought for £10,000 4 years ago. So the owner's owned it 4 years. He's done about 60,000 miles in it. It's still worth an easy 6 to 7 grand. And I don't think that's that bad. I really think that is good value for money to start with. It had, you know, 15, 16,000 miles on it when he bought it. And 60,000 miles, no problems whatsoever. He's thoroughly enjoyed the car. He's thoroughly enjoyed daily driving it, doing a few mods to it. What more could you ask for from a little car? I hope you liked today's video. My explanation as to why I think these are underrated and why they shouldn't be underrated at the same time. But thank you so much for watching. If you did like today's video, please give it a like. If you have a car you want to feature on the channel, please let me know in the comments or shoot me a DM on Instagram. That's where you'll find me most of the time. But thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.